Hello, and welcome. Welcome to True North Tuesday. We're on at a different time today because it is election day in Minnesota. It's the primary election, and I'm an election judge. So I was at the polls until about 2 o'clock, and I took a little rest and decided I need to make sure that I get on True North Tuesday. I originally planned my week a couple weeks ago thinking, I didn't have any changes. And then it dawned on me last Friday, oh my gosh, it's election day. So I had to change appointments. I had to change True North Tuesday, all sorts of things. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to open up my chat. I got 3 comments already in the chat. Sherry's here. Hi, Sherry. Debbie's here. Wonderful to see you. Felicia made it, my working girl, Felicia. Thank you for coming. Thank you for everybody who comes. Today we're going to talk about the frequency of feeling safe. And I'm going to try something. I'm going to try and get my screen to go big. And I need somebody to comment to me in about 15 seconds to tell me I'm still live, because I did this once before and it totally cut me off. So I just need, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put them on the screen. I didn't put my comments on the screen. Okay, hold on. It's like I'm new to this every week. Oh, it's not letting me put them on the screen this week. Oh, no. Yeah, show. There it goes. They just moved it. Okay. So I'm going to put this again on the big screen. And if somebody in the chat could say, yep, you're still live. You go, girl. That's just what I want to hear. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to watch the chat. And if I don't see anybody in the chat, somebody else came on. Debbie came back on. So I must still be live. I figured something out on StreamYard. So again, hello everybody and welcome to another True North Tuesday. Thanks for joining us a little bit later than our normal time. It is election day in the great state, the great independent state of Minnesota, and I think it's election day in other states too. Yes, thank you so much, Sherry, letting me know that I'm still live. Remember that time where I clicked onto this and I did my whole live and I wasn't live, and then I had to re-record it a half hour later? I think Sherry stayed on for that one. That's what friends are for. So I'm on a little bit later, and I'm super excited to have people on at this later time. So if you're new here, I'm Laurie Lynnsee, and I help women in the second half of life reconnect with themselves so that they can trust their intuition, regulate their nervous system, and live from their own inner wisdom instead of fear, people-pleasing, and self-doubt. Now, I know none of you, that doesn't describe anybody here. I know it can describe me at times, but I'm constantly working on not being that person because I got a lot of tools in my toolbox these days, and I work with a lot of women and help them through it. So it's a constant reminder to me that I got to keep on my toes. So this month we're exploring the theme of living in resonance and discovering how sound, rhythm, and our nervous system influences the way we move through the world. Yesterday, during Meditation Monday, we spent time finding the frequency of safety, and we did it through breathing, slowing down, and simply noticing our bodies. And if you missed that, it's fine. It's recorded. It is there, safe for you on my YouTube channel. I may have even posted it on my Facebook page. So if you missed it, definitely click onto it. You're not too late. So today I want to explain why these simple practices matter. And they're simple, trust me. Because here's something I wish more people understood. Your nervous system is constantly communicating. And it's not through words. It's not like, hey, Laurie, what are you doing up there? It's not through words. It's through your physiology. So it's through the cells in your body, your hormones, all that good stuff. And every moment of every day, your body is asking one question. Your central nervous system has one job, and it is constantly asking, am I safe? Now, that was great. Our Creator put that, encoded that into us, and 500 years ago, that was really great because that warring army coming over the hill, you needed to react, right? And, 200 years ago here in America, there was a buffalo coming over the hill and you needed to react to remain safe. But today, we don't have that buffalo or that charging army coming over the hill. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat. When you start feeling overwhelmed, where do you notice it first in your body? Where do you notice it first? Is it in your shoulders, in your tummy? Is it in your jaw? Turns up like this? Does your breathing change? Where do you feel it in the body? For me, it's my tummy. When I'm overwhelmed and I feel rushed, I feel it in my tummy. And I have learned that when I feel that, I need to stop. I need to take a breath. I need to figure out what's going on. Because feeling overwhelmed is just an emotion. And if I'm just going to cave into feeling overwhelmed, I'm not going to be able to move forward. And I want to be able to move forward. So Sherry says, my stomach tightens. So I think you and I are experiencing the same thing. Mine feels like it drops out. Yours feels like it tightens. Anyone else? Feel free to add to the chat. So most of us are, when we make decisions, we think we're making them with our conscious mind. And guess what? Most often, your nervous system has already decided how it's going to respond before you even realize what happens. And if you think about it, if something happens to you, you feel it somewhere in your body way before your mind catches up. It might be 30 seconds before your brain's like, hey, come back here, stop. Whereas your body's already telling you the answer, right? And that's what we need to focus on. We need to focus on clearing that noise so we can respond with our body so we can feel more aligned. I've asked this question a million times, either in one-on-one with women or in small groups or meditation or when people text me with things they need to talk about. I've asked this question, have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt uncomfortable, even though nothing obvious was wrong in that room? Now, as a classroom teacher, I could walk into a room and I could totally feel what was going on in that room. I could totally feel it. I could feel if somebody was being naughty, if somebody was feeling sad. I could go into the staff lounge, same thing. I could feel it. I go to family events and I can feel the energy that's happening there. So Debbie said, I'm not sure. Oh, it went away. Does that move? Oh, that's weird. Okay, now it won't show me until I move on. Or maybe it's sometime you've met somebody and you instantly feel at ease with them. So why is that? Why is that? Okay, Debbie's comment popped up. I'm not sure where I feel it. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to make this bigger because I'm blind. No, it won't let me make it bigger. See, every week with StreamYard, it's a new adventure. I'm not sure where I feel it in one spot. Mine feels all over my body. See? I love how you said that because that wasn't one of the options, but everybody experiences differently. We all have different bodies. We all have different situations. And for her, she's saying, I feel it all over. It just comes all over me. Sherry says, yes, absolutely. I get uncomfortable and have a tightening, a tingling and tight stomach. Yeah. And, those of you that are watching and thinking, I have no idea what they're talking about, the next time you run into something where you're feeling overwhelmed or something is happening, stop and analyze your body. And I think you'd be shocked to know that your body is like screaming at you. But it takes practice to recognize that. So, or do you notice that after spending time with certain people, you feel calm, while other interactions leave you exhausted? This sounds like family. Sounds like Thanksgiving. I know for me, it can feel that way. Not all the time, but some people exhaust me. In my teaching career, I worked with people that just would exhaust me, and other people I would just get, I would have all this energy around, and I just felt great. And other people, I'm like, when is this meeting going to be over? And it's because you're experiencing them, you're feeling them, your nervous system is reacting to them. Those experiences aren't all in your head. Now, how many of you have heard that over your lifetime? Oh, that's in your head. That's not true. That's in your head. BS. It is not in your head. It is your central nervous system constantly gathering information. And, it has to do with that we are sensitive. And we're not sensitive in the fact that we're going to cry at every, commercial. It's sensitive, meaning we feel beyond our body. We're sensitive to what's going on around us. So again, your central nervous system is constantly gathering information from the world around you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some researchers. The first one I'm going to talk about is Stephen Porges. And if you've been following me for the last month and a half, Stephen Porges is the creator of the polyvagal theory. And he calls he has this thought process that there's something called the neuroception. It's not the perception, but the neuroception. And so unlike perception, which is what we're consciously aware of, I'm perceiving this, I'm having a perception, he talks about neuroception. And that happens automatically. It's not going through the brain, it's going through the body. And your body is constantly scanning for clues of safety or danger long before your thinking mind gets involved. It's like you don't have time to react when the buffalo's coming over the hill. You can't sit there and say, oh, I got to drop what I'm doing. I got to turn to the left. I got to run 50 feet, and then I got to climb this tree. No, your body just has to react. And that's what your central nervous system is for. That is your neuroception, not your perception. Because most people say in danger, I have no idea what happened. I just did it, right? So when our nervous system senses safety, you naturally become more open. So when you feel safe, you're open. You're letting things come in. You're able to listen better to other people and to yourself. You think more clearly. You're more creative. You're more compassionate, not only to others, but to yourself. But when your nervous system senses danger, even if that danger isn't life-threatening, I mean, there's no buffalo coming over the hill today, but my gosh, our nervous systems are being bombarded with breaking news. Do you notice everything on the news is breaking news? I mean, come on. Everything is breaking news. Everything demands our immediate attention. Like, I can't wait 12 hours to find out some stupid thing that some stupid politician did in the House of Representatives. It's breaking. I got to know about it now. No, you don't need to know about it now. You can find out 12 to 24 hours later, and it's not going to affect your life. And that's fine. But we live in a society where we're glued to the TV. We're glued to our phones, and we're getting notifications on our phones. Our body, when all this is happening, shifts into protection mode. Remember that, am I safe? Am I safe? And you know what? You're going to recognize some of these patterns for the nervous system that have protection. And these are 2026 America Today patterns in each of these categories. So you've probably heard of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Have you heard of those? So I'm going to give you the modern day equivalent. So if you're in fight mode all the time, you are irritable, you're defensive, and you're impatient. You know, cut me off. Really? Does it matter? That person might be on their way to the emergency room, but you have that constant feeling you got to fight. And then there's the flight. Flight is, I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to overthink everything, or feel like I always need to be doing something. I'm not going to take care of what's in front of me or what I need to get done. I'm going to go shopping, or I'm going to constantly have things to do on the weekend so I can avoid feeling or thinking about what I really need to be doing. So that's flight. Then we have freeze. And you feel stuck. You feel disconnected. You feel numb, unable to feel. And you can't make decisions. That's freeze. That's the modern day freeze. And then you have fawn. And that is the people pleasing, the avoiding conflict, and people that say yes just to keep the peace. I said yes because I didn't want to fight. I said yes because I didn't want to get into a discussion about who's having Thanksgiving, so I'm going to have Thanksgiving, right? That's your fawn. So think about it. Here's what I want you to hear today. These are not personality traits, and they're not personality flaws. And these aren't signs that you're broken. They're protective responses. You're trying to keep yourself safe. So you're doing all of these things to trying to keep yourself safe. And what you're doing is you're driving your central nervous system crazy. And your central nervous system is just saying, hey, I just want to survive. Just help me survive. But the beautiful part is that our central nervous systems can learn safety. Even in crazy America 2026, we can still do it. We can still step away. We can still quiet the noise. It can learn how the present moment is different from the past. So I can make decisions right now about the same situation that happened to me a week ago. I can learn to make a different decision to have a different outcome. But I could also do what I did last week and still feel like I'm crazy and I'm boarding the crazy train. But you have that choice, and you just need to develop the skills. So can you relate to one of these? Can you relate to the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? Which one is your nervous system living in? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? I'm just going to go over to the chat. So these are some comments from earlier in our talk. Sherry says, too much energy is exhausting for me. Yeah. I think that's so true with empaths, people that sense energy. I think the older we get, the more we're around a lot of people, the more overwhelming it is. And we just feel crazy, And it can be good energy, but there's so many people and so many emotions and thoughts coming to you. Debbie said, I watch the news way less. Me too. The only news I get is if it happens to come up in my feed, if I'm on a social media. But I don't sit and watch the news because my body screams at me. And that's been going on for 2 years now. 2 years this fall. And I was a news junkie. If you had a question about what was going on in the world, I was your gal. Because I watched all the shows. And I had a husband who watched all the shows, and then he watched the opposite opinion. So he knew what the other people were saying. It's crazy. So Debbie said, when I'm stressed, I'm in fight mode. Yeah, you and me. Did I talk about that already? That's the one that I used to go to. And now I feel like that anger bubbles up inside of me, but I'm able to just say, okay, I'm just going to breathe through this, because is this really important? No. And it's not that I'm pushing that emotion down. What I actually am doing is releasing it and saying to my body, in this moment now, I don't need to feel crazy about this. I don't need to fight it. I don't need to be angry that the cars are backed up for 5 blocks, because I have no control over it. There are things I have control over, and there are things I'm going to fight for. But being upset about traffic, we just can't do that to our bodies anymore. So, again, which one do you tend to go to? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? And remember, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just being curious about yourself. And once you have that knowledge, then when you encounter it, you can do something about it. You can breathe your way through it. You can turn off the noise. You could become still. You could turn on your favorite music and release it. There's so many things you can do to get rid of the noise. Also, I've been researching Deb Dana, and she helps us understand that regulation isn't about forcing ourselves to calm down. How many times have you seen somebody just crazy, like crying, upset, and somebody saying to them, calm down, just calm down? That doesn't help. It doesn't help. You can't tell somebody to calm down. You can't force yourself or anyone else to calm down. What you do need to do is gently create experiences that help our bodies remember when we feel safe. So when I worked with kids, and kids felt out of control, they felt upset, they got hurt, the best thing I could do is just sit next to them and try to be as calm as I could and just be there. Just let my aura envelop them. If I'm going to be calm, they're eventually going to be calm. It's like when you get together with a girlfriend and you're upset about something, but you sit and you talk to this friend, it can calm you down. Of course, it can have the opposite effect if your girlfriend is kind of, she wires you up. But simple things like just being there with somebody, just holding their hand when they're struggling. You don't have to say, calm down. Just calm down. You'll be fine. Calm down. That doesn't help because our central nervous system is not only feeling out of control, but now they're being judged and telling them how they're supposed to behave. Don't ever tell somebody how they're supposed to behave. That's why practices like slowing our breath can make such a huge difference. And when we slow our breath, you're not just relaxing, you're sending information down to your central nervous system. I have a gratitude alarm, and I know some of you have heard me say this, but it goes off every 2 hours. And today at the polls, it went off every 2 hours. And one of my co-judges said, how come your alarm goes off so often? Teacher Laurie steps in. Well, that's my gratitude alarm. Oh, what's a gratitude alarm? I said, it's a way for me to ground every 2 hours, either take a breath or make sure my feet are on the floor or to just find something that I appreciate in that moment. And she's like, wow, I never even thought about something like that. See, I'm a teacher. I'm constantly teaching. I came out of the womb as a teacher. So you're telling your body it's okay and you can soften. When you do all those things, that's what you're saying to your body. You're saying that to your central nervous system. I need an off button for my husband. Thanks, Debbie. I need that too. Maybe we should manufacture that together. My husband's very into the news right now. It's like a cult. It's like a cult. He feels like he has to know. And I'm like, nothing's going to happen here in Little Minnesota. That's really, I could go on. So, I talked about this earlier, but another way to calm down is listening to music. If you have favorite songs or songs that really bring you peace. Last night, is Lynn with us today? I don't think Lynn's with us. Lynn talked about that she likes to listen to classical music. That's something that settles her central nervous system. Other people could listen to classical music and they feel like they're on the crazy train, but everybody has their own tools. Another thing you can do is spend time in nature. If it's the right time of year, you can take off your shoes and socks and go stand in your grass. That's one of the most centering things you could do with your body. When someone truly listens without trying to fix you, that's that sitting next to somebody and just holding their hands. And sometimes when I'm having a rough time and I want to tell somebody something, I don't want advice. I just need to get it out of me. And so many people feel like, oh, I'm supposed to give advice. I'm supposed to tell them what to do. No. I was the kid when I was little that I told people what to do. In fact, my best friend from childhood, that was their family joke. Oh, you don't know what to do? Why don't you go ask Laurie? And on her wedding day, she was having an absolute panic attack. And her mom or dad says, Laurie's sitting out in the congregation. You could just go ask her and she'll tell you what to do. I'm not that person anymore. I don't want to be the person to tell you what to do. I want to be the person that sits next to you and holds your hand and listens and then responds to you. But I don't want to fix you. I want to help you. So these experiences, all of these experiences become clues of safety for our nervous system. And over time, those moments begin to change the way our nervous system responds. Now, is this really going to, if you practice this for a couple of days, dramatically your life is going to change? No. Some women I've been working with for a year, and they are leaps and bounds compared to when I met them. But they continue to work on it. They continue to work on their toolkit. And they continue to practice the things that make their life feel more aligned and that they can trust themselves better and their central nervous system is calmer. So what helps your central nervous system feel safe? Maybe it's music, maybe it's being outside. Debbie just said that nature helps the most. I wish I was an outdoor girly. I think because of my disease and I wear leg braces, it's really hard for me to go out under the grass. And I know I could go sit on a park bench and take off my shoes and socks and my leg braces, but I have to get to the park bench, which is usually through grass. So, but it is the best way to ground yourself. So how do you find safety? Do you listen to a favorite song? Is it about being outside? Just drinking a cup of tea and being still and quiet? Spending time with someone you trust? I'd love to hear from you. What makes you feel safe? Another researcher, and I'm just going to check the time. It's almost 5:30 my time. Another researcher I have come to love in the last 2 months in all of my personal research to present all this curriculum to all of you is Dr. Roland McCready, and he's with the HeartMath Institute. And he developed this theory about heart coherence, and his work shows that our heart rhythms change depending on our emotional state. So we spent a lot of time last month, and you can find all of my stuff on my YouTube page, but we spent time recognizing that heart-brain communication. And one of the things he talked about is when we're feeling overwhelmed, that the rhythm of our heart becomes chaotic. And I'm sure you recognize that. When you feel crazy, some people say, I feel like my heart is beating out of my chest, right? It's because your heart rate is chaotic. But when we experience things like compassion and appreciation and calm, our heart rhythms calm. They are more coherent. Now, yeah, you might be sitting there and saying, yeah, no duh, right? Because we've experienced that. But researchers like Roland McCready actually have measured it through scientific tools and have proved that that really works. So science is catching up with us woo-woo people. I'm going to jump over the chat. Oh yeah, Debbie said we'd make millions if we had the off button, for those of you who are just joining us. Nature helps the most, Debbie said that, and meditation is also a must. I spend every morning in meditation. I actually set my alarm and do at least 1 hour of meditation every morning. It's that important to me. And I end the day also in meditation. And I also meditate during the day because I have to, or I'm going to be on the crazy train. You know, that's just one of my tools in my toolbox to help me stay off the crazy train, to help me feel aligned with this world. I think 50 years ago, I probably wouldn't have to do all that because I think a lot of what's happening to us today is like artificially out there pushing in on us. But, you know, that's a topic for another day. So your heart and your brain, they work together. And when they work together, our nervous system feels calm and it feels safe. And it's almost like an orchestra finding the same tempo. And Roland McCready, he's actually measured all that. He's measured it. It's like scientific, with scientific instruments. It's real. Look it up. HeartMath, M-A-T-H, like adding and subtraction. And that, you know what, having all of that, having the ability to get your coherence, having the ability to go out and ground in nature, having the ability to do meditation, hear me on this. It doesn't suddenly make your life easier. Sorry, it's not. But it does mean that you will better be able to respond instead of react. So you're still going to have that crazy aunt that just drives you, wah, right? But if you have the tools and you have the boundaries with her, you can still enjoy the family function because you can respond instead of react. And that's the goal. Because then your nervous system isn't constantly asking, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Is this crazy lady going to come and grab me? Is she going to tell me all sorts of horrible things? Yeah, I don't care if she does, right? And I think that's what so many women are really longing for. And it's not that their life is going to become perfect. and it's not ever feeling anxious again. You have to feel anxious. You have to have anxiety, or you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. But we can't live in the anxiety that we have been living in to the extent that we've been living in for at least the past 10 years. Probably more. Just the ability to pause, to take a breath, to hear yourself think before the noise of the world takes over. And that's what I do with women. I teach women how to quiet the noise and then reconnect with their voice, develop tools that work for them so they can live a more aligned life. So they're not living in fawn. Yeah, I'll have Easter. I don't want to have Easter, but I'm still going to say yes to Easter. No, they're going to be able to say, you know what? It's not going to work for me, but I'll bring a ham to your house. Right? You have to make decisions that make you feel safe, that make you feel calm. So that's really what this entire month is about. Have you noticed someone's presence instantly calming you down? Or maybe the opposite, somebody else walks into a room and your whole body tenses up. I'm sure you've all experienced that. But living from your own natural frequency instead of constantly reacting to everyone else's, that's the way you want to live life. You want your own frequency. You don't want your Aunt Susie's. Right? And if you live in that calm place, I'm not saying that Aunt Susie's not going to drive you nuts. She's going to drive you nuts. But you're going to have tools like calming your central nervous system. So I'd like to leave you with one question. The next time you notice yourself feeling overwhelmed, instead of asking, what is wrong with me? Try asking, what is my nervous system trying to tell me? And that single question can shift us from judgment to curiosity. And if we're curious about what's going on in our bodies, we're at a better place to heal. So what's one small thing you could do today to remind your body that you feel safe? Just one thing. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could just be one deep breath when your tummy tightens. It could be, I'm just going to take a 5-minute walk around my office. It could be, I'm just going to sit quietly for a few minutes. It could be, I'm going to listen to my favorite song. All those things can help you change your frequency to make you feel better so you're not on the crazy train. So thank you so much for spending today with me. We're already out of time. In fact, we're 2 minutes over. Thank you so much for joining us. I see that there's 4 people that actually clicked in. I'd love to know who that 4th person is because I know who the other people are because they've been chatting with me. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Next week, we're going to do this again. It's going to be at our regular time because, there'll be no election then. But I'm going to have to decide for the general election. Am I going to have to move it to later in the day? Yeah, we'll see. Oh, somebody's calling me a spam call. Shocker. So Sherry says grounding. And of course, the minute I move my thing over there, it covered it up. Here it goes. Ground. I am safe. I am secure. I am loved. Is that a mantra you use, Sherry? The 4th person is, you were mentioning people. Charles. Hey, Charles. How's it going? I'm sure Sadie and Levi are watching too, right? Thank you, Debbie. I love seeing you here at True North Tuesday. I know that Meditation Monday is not always the most convenient for you, so it's fun to see you here at True North Tuesday. So, yes. Okay, I hope you all have a blessed day. And a new podcast is coming out this week. In fact, 2 podcasts are coming out this week. I'm interviewed. Thank you, Sadie, and thank you, Levi, for a minute there. What was I saying? A new podcast this week. So there is a new podcast coming out this week on Thursday, but there's going to be a bonus podcast over the weekend. I interviewed this really great lady that you may be seeing on your social media. It's Jen St. John, and she is blowing it up. And her content is amazing. So jump on her. I find her on Facebook and I find her on Instagram. So look for her, Jen St. John. She is amazing. We talk the same language, but she does it in a slightly different way than I do. And our conversation is incredible. And Debbie's going to lead us out by saying that she does 3 deep breaths to help her. So I hope you're all having a blessed day. I can't wait to see you all next week. If you really want to interact with me and talk to me, not through the chat, come to Meditation Monday because I'm live and we all chat and we talk about what's going on in our lives, and sometimes we laugh, and yeah, it's a good sisterhood. So I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I hope if you have elections in your state that your people win, because we need a change, right? So we can all step off the crazy train for a little while. So love and light. Now I got to figure out how to get out of here when I'm on the big screen. Oh, see, there it goes. Okay, I'm going to hit end stream. So, bye.